Hey guys, it's me, it's Stormie, and we are going to start talking about the Mars signs. Now, you know Venus in your chart represents romance, right? The way you're going to be romantic. But your Mars sign is one thing we can look at in your chart, and it'll tell us about the way you approach sex. It will tell us, you know, are you hot and heavy? You got that Aries? Ooh, okay. Or are you a little bit more chill? You know, you got that Aquarius, a little bit more detached. Do you know what I mean? It can tell us a lot about how you get down. But it's much more than just the get down sign. It is how you get things done. Mars is in charge of how aggressive you are, how assertive you are, how successful you are, how you fail as well. Mars takes care of all of these areas. Mars is going to show us how prone you are to being argumentative. Are you a fight picker, you know, or are you a little bit more passive and it's like, oh no, I have to wait until I'm really upset before I'm going to blow up. But what we love about Mars and what we really, really need about this Mars energy is because sometimes it just takes a lot to get us moving forward, right? Mars is in charge of our courage. Mars gives us this courage to step out there and take new risks. Because remember, Mars is a competitor. Mars is a champion. They want to get it done. They want to win. You know what I mean? That's that Mars energy, and that's what it drums up inside of us. And it is associated with a masculine energy, which we naturally associate with this hunter-gatherer type of energy, and it meets any challenge along the way. If you are having a problem, Mars is going to come through to tell you how to get through it. You know, think of the story of the climber who was stuck up on whatever mountain he was climbing, but he was stuck down in there for hours and hours, and he, you know, ended up cutting off his arm to be able to get out. Those kinds of things. That's Mars energy coming through saying, I don't care what we're going to do, we're going to get out of this. So you can really see how Mars comes through in your chart. Now, Mars will be tempered depending on which house it sits in for you and which sign it sits in for you. So we're going to cover right now what happens when you have Mars in different signs. All right, guys, like, comment, subscribe, and share this video so that other people can know what their Mars sign is about. And definitely keep watching. Click the links around here so you can get to your next Mars video to find out what happens when you have Mars in your specific sign. Bye, guys. Hey guys, so let's talk Mars in Aries. Now, Mars in Aries is impulsive. This is an impulsive type of energy. This part of their personality is impulsive. They can get angry really quickly, like just at a snap, but then they also cool off just as quickly. You know, they're very impulsive and spontaneous in that way. They generally like to work by themselves because they can tend to be very selfish, and they don't often trust the input of other people. They trust their own gut. They're very solid in trusting their own gut, and then they move. This is also that kind of placement in their personality where literally just in their physical body and in how they move and how they get things done, these people move quickly. Like, they're going to talk about the plan for about 6 seconds and then they're already to it, and you're like, wait, who's going to do what? You know what I mean? Like, then they're gone if they've done it. This is also the same tendency with this placement that can make people really hard to be in a relationship with because they get all excited, they're in it for a minute, and then they're gone. They leave just as quickly as they come. These are generally a placement that would indicate a leaver. And it's because this placement on the negative side lacks a lot of patience with other people, so they don't naturally wait for their partner's response, so they don't generally keep a partner. They also lack a lot of discipline to sit down, be quiet, and to absorb what other people around them are saying, that other people have good ideas as well. So that's the negative side. Now, the really positive side of this placement, these are the people, everybody else is saying, I don't think it can be done. This placement is like, yep, it can be done, and I'm going to go do it. They like obstacles. They like opposition. They like to get in there and compete and to win and to get it done, which is interesting. Because all at the same time, these people can be very emotional, and they're natural leaders, and they don't like to be opposed as leaders, but they do enjoy the challenge everywhere else. So this is a really interesting, passionate, playful type of placement, not necessarily known for being very sensuous. They are not, this is not the foreplay placement, okay? They like to get to the business. Let's just get in here, get your clothes off, let's do it. You know what I mean? That's this kind of placement. So as they mature and this part of their personality gets to root down a little bit in that patience and in some of that self-discipline, you get to see the part of this personality placement be really amazing, really playful, really powerful, and really, really good leaders. All right, guys, like, comment, and share this video. Subscribe to the channel as well, and I'll see you in the next video where I do Mars in Taurus. Hey guys, I'm talking to you about what happens when you have the Mars in Taurus placement. And this is a really focused, practical, sturdy, persistent, persevering kind of placement. I mean, these people, much like the natural Taurus energy, they're not real quick moving. You know what I mean? They feel no real need to be in a rush unless there's really an emergency, which can be frustrating to the people around them because they have a steady pace. They stick to it. They get the job done. Now, the thing with Mars and Taurus is that they deeply, with the support and the heat of Mars, enjoy possessions. More than just a Taurus placement. These people really deeply enjoy their possessions. They're happy to work to get these possessions, but their possessions are important to them. Their possessions are theirs. So when threatened, when they feel jealous, or when someone has stolen from them, or if they feel like their possessions are threatened, the rage of these people outdoes the rage of so many of the other placements that it's incredible. And because it takes so long to finally excite them, because this is such an enduring sign, so much they can just kind of blow off their backs, you know what I mean? But when it finally happens, the rage of this sign absolutely clears the room very, very quickly. Now, this sign placement, this planet placement, is really delicious because while they are so steady and persistent, what we see here is that these people end up being great craftsmen, great artists, great people who appreciate the endeavor of things that take a long time to build or a long time to produce before they're actually ready to go out in the world and be beautiful. On the sexual side, Taurus, in its nature, believes that sex is just as necessary as eating and breathing and having possessions. So this planet placement can really get heated when there are issues in the sex life. They're not going to have that. And it's going to go on for a little bit, and when they're going to blow up and have something to say about that. But this sign placement is a lot of, think about taking the superpower and action of Mars and that energy and focus it like a laser. That's exactly what you get when you experience having a Mars in Taurus placement. All right, guys, like, comment, and share this video. Subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you in the next video where I do Mars in Gemini. Hey guys, talking about having the Mars in Gemini placement. Now, this placement can actually be very unfocused. I mean, think about it. It's the energy of the twins. They're going two different directions. But they can be very unfocused, but their minds are like their playground. They're interested in things that stimulate their mind. They love to learn new things. They usually will take on more than one project at a time so that they can be busy because they have an abundance of energy. They can be busy doing multiple things at the same time because they don't want to get bored. This is a great fear for this personality and planet placement, is getting bored, because that'll mean they're not creating something new, learning about something new, doing the next new thing. So that's something that's very, very common. This sign placement, they're not really known for being practical people, you know, because they're all over the place. They can be very erratic. Now, where we get to see this sign placement really shine is writers, because they are gift of gab. I mean, they're great speakers. They're great listeners, actually, because they want to know what's going on so that they can speak it out to the world. So teachers, journalists, you know what? And when I say teachers, you know which teacher I'm talking about. The one where you went to class and they just kind of never had their stuff together, but you always learned something incredible from them. Yeah, that's them. These are the same kind of way when they're journalists, critics, any of those kind of writing, getting out to the world type of professions. Now, in the zone of romance, this could be that sign placement where honestly you're going to have to work really hard to keep this person faithful, or to keep them around at all, because they always want the new and next exciting thing. Romance is not really a big deal. It's almost like the next cool thing to experience. And that is not necessarily a negative. It is just the way this sign placement breathes that in. And sex is the same way. It can be the next cool thing. It is not a guarantee that they're in it to win it. But thank goodness, you know, in the chart, we usually have some other placements that help balance these things out. But I will tell you, if you've got this Mars and Gemini placement in your chart, people can probably talk to you for hours and just be amazed. And you can probably be so involved in so many things that you're such a great resource for the people around you because you know a ton about a lot. All right, guys, like this video, comment, share it, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you in the next video where I do Mars in Cancer. Hey guys, it's me, Stormie, talking to you about Mars in Cancer. Now, this placement can actually be very passive-aggressive because, like Cancer, they're not huge on direct confrontation. You know what I mean? They're not about it. They would prefer to have a peaceful solution, but you know, they're moody and they don't like things because they're governed in that way to be very emotional, but they don't always want to go after it in a very, very direct way. The biggest thing that can be damaging to people with this sign placement is even if it's just in a momentary situation, indifference feels like the weight of the world to these people because there's no here nor there and they're far too emotional to sit in indifference. So that can be something that's really very damaging to this sign. And it's interesting because this can be very manipulative as well. They are emotional, so they understand how to get to the heart and the emotions of people and to themselves. Because let me tell you what, this sign placement, great for being delusional and manipulative to their own emotions. But the thing is when they get this harnessed, they get a little bit more maturity in this placement and in their sun placement as well as a person, they become the most protective person over the people they love. They're dependable. They are loyal. And here's the other thing. Because they have access to so many emotions, this is super imaginative placement. Now, the thing about their imaginations and their emotions, too, is that they can send them on these wild sprees. This placement tends to be really concerned about doing things that would hurt their body or cause some injury to their body in some form or the other, which is funny because by being passive aggressive or manipulative or not really speaking up for what they want, what they do is they bottle it inside. And whenever I see this sign placement, I always want to wonder about the person's digestion. Where are you at? Because you're keeping stuff inside the body. That energy's got to go someplace. So this is a sign placement where we can see digestion issues happening. Now, as a partner, this is a delicious placement because they're like, they need their penguin. You know what I mean? Like they're coming to mate for life because love and sex and partnership all go together for them. They need lots of attention. They need lots of affection. They need to be touched. This is a sign placement where you're going to have just a lot of touching even during the day, just the hand on the back, things like that. And it makes them feel secure. I mean, they are willing to go to any lengths to feel secure, to have that security. I mean, they will leave one career field or one partner if their security feels really, really threatened. And this is a sign placement too that is likely to cry. And it's not about being a cry baby or being a whiner. It is about an actual necessity in physical and spiritual release for this sign placement to be able to be okay and move forward. All right, guys, like, comment, share this video, subscribe to the channel, and I will see you in the next video doing Mars in Leo. Bye, guys. All right, guys, I am talking about Mars in Leo, that placement. Very dramatic. These people just knew that they were born to be somebody. You know what I mean? They have this lasting impression about them. They are very magnetic. Whenever they get put in charge of an event, that event becomes magnetic. These are the people you want on your front line of marketing, because even if it's about your product, but you put them out there, they want to draw people to them, to meet them, to talk about your product. So they make that great front man. They really do. They're playful. They're dramatic. They can be eccentric in their own way. Eccentric in the fact that you're like, oh, so you have a small gold toilet. Not really. They have a large gold toilet. You know what I mean? Because they like extravagant things. They like to be dressed in the finest. These people, this is a part of that personality where whatever it is that's going to get done, it's going to get done to the best. It is going to just look regal. It is going to look well put together. You know, the other thing I really do like about this placement is that they are straightforward. Okay, like they are clear. Generally, they are direct. And the thing is, the biggest complication to this placement is wherever there is Leo, is the selfishness that gets involved here. Because they want to talk about your product, but it's going to be all about them, and they just happen to use your product. You know what I mean? When the ego gets in the way, it can really cause problems in relationships. It can cause disruptions in very good relationships. Now, romantically, they are attentive to their partners. This placement tends to really care about what it looks like in the bedroom, what it feels like in the bedroom, mostly in terms of, are they getting their needs met? And thank God you came too. You know what I mean? Like, oh, I mean that figuratively and literally. The other thing about this is that they are a touchy sign to an extent. This is that placement where, yeah, they're going to be affectionate. They don't need it all the time. You probably need to go sit on the couch someplace, but you don't always need to be around them. But the most wonderful thing I think about this placement is that you get to see Mars take the action on of being very playful, very sarcastic, very witty, but also very magnetic and extravagant, and a lot of fun. All right, guys, like this video, comment, and definitely share and subscribe. That would be amazing. And I'll see you in the next video where I do Mars placement in Virgo. Hey guys, talking about the Mars in Virgo placement. In this placement, I like them because even when they're scattered, they can really pull it together because they really are made of goal-orientedness, and they really are pretty practical and very disciplined. Once they take on a project or 5, they like to see them all the way through, but they also kind of need that. They need to have their hands in several different projects at a time, but they will complete them. I mean, this is not the kind of placement that they're going to start 5 different projects and none of them get done. They're going to manage them and they are going to finish them all the way to the end. This is a placement too that they're great at working alone because they like to control every piece of the puzzle. But what's the best for this placement is doing for others. They like to do for others. That's where they get their energy. That's where they get their sense of security from, is being able to do a job really, really well because it's going to be detail oriented. It's going to be methodical. It's going to be really beautiful and well done by the time it's delivered. And that gives them a sense of passion and a sense of success for who they are. Now, these people really do. They are great when you see the sign placement working someplace like in healthcare because they really like to help people like that. And they're great too because this placement is not necessarily super emotional, and sometimes that's what we need, is someone to give us that loving, understanding information without getting attached to our situation. Think of an emergency room. These people would be great right there. Now, in terms of a relationship, they can be very giving to their partner. They're attentive, and you know, it's interesting because they love cleanliness, right? Like, so you got to be clean. You got to be willing to put up with some of these things, and you've got to bring some of these things to the table because they really are very perfectionist. But when it comes down to the intimate side of things, they can kind of crave a partner that is imperfect because to them, they almost get joy out of loving the imperfections of their partner so that they can kind of in their head perfect them. You know what I mean? They will perfect your imperfections, not even by means of changing you, but by means of making your imperfections perfect in their head. It's really interesting. This is also a placement too in terms of sex. One night stands, casual sex, stuff like that is not huge for them, and they are happy to stay virgins well until they commit to somebody. Not a big deal for this placement. Now, on the other side, once they're finally into the more intimate games, they really have a lot of questions, but they're not going to bring those things out with somebody that they don't trust. When they're with their partner, they're going to let the freak out. You know what I mean? Because they'll feel safe and they'll feel secure. So that's what it can mean for you if you have Mars in Virgo placement. Like this video, comment to this video, share this video, and definitely subscribe to the channel. And I'll see you in the next video where I do Mars in Libra. Hey guys, talking about the Mars in Libra placement, and this placement can just be really indecisive. I mean, they're looking to create balance and harmony And in doing that, it's not that they're lazy, it's not that they're ill-spirited, it's just they take so long to try and balance those scales, and the action of Mars trying to do that creates disharmony with those that they love and in the relationships that they are trying to make decisions in, which is completely funny because these people are absolute experts at diplomacy because they love social etiquette. They love treating people with courtesy. They think that those standards should definitely be upheld, so that's what they do. So they're great at diplomacy. They are great at compromise, conflict resolution, risk management, because these people can generally predict and see a problem coming because despite being indecisive, they really can't think a situation all the way out from beginning to end. So these are our risk managers, our psychologists, our people who are helping to create diplomacy and government. Lots of Libra energy hanging out in there. So it's really interesting. And these people are also very charming because they do. They are charming. They want to always appear and present themselves that way, which can actually be a downfall for them because once they finally get mad, instead of just saying, hey, I'm mad, or letting people know that they're upset, they can keep it quiet and becomes a little passive aggressive actually, and then it comes out generally in a different way that can be a bit manipulative. Now, when it comes to being in a relationship or just when it comes to everyday life, what really motivates these people, because they can procrastinate, what really sets them on fire and gets them to spur into action is being paired with somebody they really adore, whether that be they really like their cube mate at work or they have a new romance or have a steady romance in their life. That sets them on fire. And when you get to see the Mars Libra energy in action, it's incredible because they are gracious, they are charming, they are entertaining, and people are always attracted to them when they're on fire. Now, in a romantic sense as well, this is a placement that can be known for being unfaithful, and it's more so, not that they like go out and look for other people, but if somebody lovely, especially somebody who is lovely, presents themselves, they're like, oh, well, you're lovely, so yeah, let's do it. You know what I mean? And when it comes to the get down part, this is actually a placement that can have a lower sex drive, but they like the foreplay. Lots of romance is involved, and that starts from 6 o'clock in the morning on until when the actual action happens at 9 o'clock at night. Like, they can drag this delicious romance out, and whatever the scene and the setting is that the magic happens in, it's usually beautiful. And they put a lot of action, they put a lot of passion, and they put a lot of Mars into Libraing out their space and making it really, really beautiful. One of my favorite things about the sign placement in general is that they can be choosier than Virgo, because they're not just going to romance with you, they're not just going to hop in the sack with you, and they're also just not going to do business with you. They are going to be pretty choosy about where they're going to expend their really indecisive energy. All right, guys, like this video, comment to this video, share it, and subscribe to the channel, and I will see you in the next video where we do Mars in Scorpio. Bye, guys. Hey guys, this time I am talking about the Mars in Scorpio placement, and this placement, they really like a challenge. They like to achieve a goal so that they have something to put all this passion and energy towards to strive for. You can see these people setting goals for themselves, setting the next milestone for them to get to. In 5 years, I want to be here. And they will work and move, and they are consistent in moving towards it because they like the challenge of having to navigate whatever comes their way. But once they decide that they want to go someplace or do something, that's it. It's going to be done. It is absolutely going to happen because they have the ability to really focus all of this passion and this power down to one thing. And these are like people who have some of the strongest willpower on the planet. This is also that kind of placement that makes them look very, very cool on the outside, like, oh, they're unattached, anything can happen, and they're going to be able to go with it. And below, they are like a bubbling cauldron of emotions and feelings and opinions about things. So in that way, they can actually use that to their own selfish benefit in being very expletive to people, because they can just be like, you know what I mean? I'm going to exploit this company because I know they think I'm doing this over here, but this is really where my motive is. So in a more mature version of where this placement is at, they are learning to come up and realize where they're being manipulative, where they're going to try and exploit a situation based on their ability to really hide those emotions, but then also tap into the emotions of other people. Now this placement is, like I said, it's deep. They're intense. They love intensely. They don't let people see their emotions very often. So once they are finally hooked up in some kind of partnership that they plan on staying in because they're loyal, they're committed, even their partner may say, I've been with this person for 15 years and I've never seen them be intensely emotional. Now, what they will have maybe experienced is intensely emotional moments created by the Mars and Scorpio person, because they like intense sex. They like intense eroticism. They like intense mental and emotional stimulation during the act of sex and all the way around it. This is also just in general, whether it be sex or whether it just be in their everyday lives, they can be very drawn to the darker side of things, the darker side of sex, the occult, things like that. They can really be more drawn to that because they're not afraid to go there, because they always understand that they'll be able to come to the other side. And things like the occult and things that are a little bit more taboo, and sex, darker sex, equals power to them. And they love to have this power. So again, that goes back to the way they run deeply, intensely inside, but it can look all smooth and jelly on the surface. One thing that I do love and admire the most about this partnership and this placement when they are in a partnership is that they're willing to go try some new stuff, lots of new stuff, the taboo stuff. Let's take it off the table. Let's go try it, if they also have an equally willing partner. But sometimes they are too intense for their partner, so the partner has to get away from them. Not to mention, they are intensely jealous to the point where they may not even want to have their partner go to work anymore, you know, or go to visit the family. It can be very possessive and jealous in that sense, so they do have to be careful with that placement. But these are the people in the placement who they're going to go into the dark and the unknown and bring back information for us that none of us would have had the courage to do. All right, guys, like this video, comment, share it, subscribe to the channel, and I will see you in the next video where I do Mars in Sagittarius. Bye! Alright guys, talking right now about the Mars in Sagittarius placement. Now this is the placement where these people are not very patient typically, and God knows they are great starters of things, but they're not typically finishers. Like, they love the beginnings of things, but they don't really love the endings. So these are definitely the type of placement where you see 50 different projects started someplace and absolutely not one of them finished. And they are enthusiastic about them not being finished too, because they just are so attracted to the beginning, not necessarily finishing and getting to the end of things. But they're fun, they're joyful, they have lots of energy. If they don't want to be angry or overly argumentative, they need to stay very, very physically active, or they need to have a very physical outlet, because if not, they are happily going to explode if they feel like trapped or tucked in. And this is the very definition of them in a relationship as well. First of all, this placement is great for being unfaithful, but it is also the kind of placement where it's just, if they do stay, or if someone gets them to stay, it's going to be because they've given them enough space to come and go as they need to without things getting too serious when they need a little bit more space. And also because the person has been able to intellectually, philosophically engage them, as well as sexually entertain them as well. Because to them, it's a lot of play, it's a lot of sport. They are interested in so many different things, different philosophies, different religions, different concepts, knowledge, that even with people, they're like, whatever, it's just a learning thing. I'm just here to learn. This is exciting. Do you know what I mean? And it's interesting because as interested as this placement really is in all of these different things, they take it very personally if your perspective does not agree with their perspective. And they can be seen getting on these moral high horses and just holding the crowd hostage, talking about how their perspective is right and why it's right and why these changes should be made, to the point that they're irritated. So it's actually sometimes with them like, oh, you're so fun, you're a class clown, love that. And the very next minute, you're so hot on some debate issue that it's really very interesting to watch this placement. One of the most fun things I think about this placement, though, is that they do have the ability to move from one thing to the next without being too attached, which is great. We could all use that in some place in our life, right? So that's a little bit of what it's like if you have the Mars in Sagittarius placement. Like this video, comment, definitely share, and subscribe. And I'll see you guys in the next video, Mars in Capricorn. Hey guys, I am talking to you right now about having Mars in Capricorn, and this is an orderly, controlled, goal-oriented, ambitious kind of placement. I mean, these people set the goal, they are not flamboyant, they are not distracted, they work towards it, they want to be in control of all of the areas in their life, but then they also are so very materialistic that they are going to control how they get to it. You know what I mean? Like, they're going to set these goals, they're going to work this hard, and then they're going to get to it, they're going to achieve it, and they are going to have that material possession. They are ambitious. They will save for life. They will make a plan for their future and absolutely stick to it. They're not looking at straying from what the plan is, which makes it very hard for this placement to let go of old ideas and to try on some different ideas. Obviously, it can happen, but it's very, very hard for them to let this go. Now, when this placement gets angry, when we get to see that Mars in the argumentative action, what it generally looks like is they look super in control. They look like they're calm, they're level-headed, they got this together, they're not angry, they're just making a point. And really, what's happening is they are on fire. But what the thing is they feel like any energy they're going to put out into the world needs to be useful in creating something that they can benefit from later. So yelling and screaming at you and running around like a maniac is not going to do caca for them. So they're going to be cool, calm, in control, collected, and just let you know what's up, so that you can move to the next thing. Now, what I like about their materialism too, though, is that these people are down to create a safe, wonderful home for not only themselves in terms of the things, but they are also willing to do that for their partner. They get a partner that they decide to commit to, and you're going to have a house. Not only are you going to have a house, you're going to have a house that has beautiful furnishings in it. And even if they don't completely understand why you like the furnishings you like, the fact that they could provide that material thing to you is going to blow their mind. Now, when it comes to sex, they have a very strong sexual urge, and you would never know because they're generally so conservative, so professional, so well put together that you're like, yeah, I bet they never get down ever. But they do, and they like it. They're not looking to like hang from the chandelier or anything like that. It's going to be pretty straightforward, but it'll be good. It'll be attentive. They're into it. You know, they're ambitious. There's a goal. Everybody's got to win in the sex game, and they're going to make sure everybody wins, which that's kind of nice, right? Now, when it comes to being an attentive lover, they can disconnect a little bit because they can be so focused on the project they're doing and what it's going to bring. They can be workaholics. So the ambition can kind of even push sex to the background a little bit. And this is the placement that I actually do like when it comes to intimacy and when it comes to sexual intimacy. They can really detach from that, especially if they have something else going on, because they're like, got to put the energy somewhere. Might as well make $1 million. You know what I mean? Like, comment, and subscribe to the channel and share this video. And I'll see you guys in the next video, Mars in Aquarius. Bye, guys. Moving right along here, guys, talking about Mars in Aquarius. And this can be one of the hardest to figure out, and these people love it that way. They're like, good, if you don't know me or if I'm a mystery, all the better. That's what this placement is really, really about. Literally, with this type of placement in the personality, if you start to see a pattern in their traits or a pattern in their behavior or a pattern in how they drive to work or whatever, they will change it up so fast. They will change it up so fast. They like being the nonconformist. They like being that mystery, maybe even a little bit misunderstood, while all at the same time people understanding that it's about their brilliance, you know, their unconventionalness, their innovativeness, their attention and attractiveness to the new and to do it different is something that they really, really revel in. And this is another one of those placements too that we have to love, because with the Mars in this Aquarius, they are our reformers. They are going to go up against the man. They are going to go up against the government. They're humanitarians. They are going to go fight for the rights of the people. You know what I mean? So they are not afraid to do that because they really do have a cleverness about them, a revolutionary way of thinking and bringing things about, and a charm to kind of do it as well. And sometimes, honestly, this placement, these people just seem bat crazy. Seriously, they seem like they are off their rocker. And then when you listen to what they're saying, you're like, that makes 100% sense. You know, so they're a bit eccentric, a bit erratic, a bit all over the place, even though they really are together. Now, when it comes to being in an intimate relationship, these are classically, I love to call them the sexters, because messages via text that are sexy, or even some, I don't know, maybe you're doing some Skype situation. They like that because it's very mentally stimulating to them. It makes them use their imagination. It makes them envision what it could be like. So they are really, really the ones to get on board and really enjoy that. But also, just in an intimate relationship, they are totally down to try anything once, which is cool, which makes them open. And in a relationship itself, as long as they can have somebody who's willing to do lots of different newness and not try and harness them down, because as soon as they're harnessed down, they're going to rebel and get out of there. But as long as they have somebody who can go with that, they'll stay, they'll hang out, and they'll make really, really loyal partners if they can find that right balance of personality to also get in there. So this is also speaks to how they will work on projects. If they feel like they have permission to begin a project, work on it, get all innovative about it, and leave whenever they want or come back to it, they'll stay. But they are not going to stay and try and make these huge reformations if they feel like they have to do this thing. So that's a little bit about this placement of Mars in Aquarius. If you've got questions or comments, leave them down below. Like the video, comment, subscribe, definitely share, and I will see you when I do Mars in Pisces. Bye, guys. Hey guys, talking about the Mars in Pisces placement, and this placement is as gentle and flowy and passive as Pisces itself. This is that sign placement that when it comes to being in an argument, you know they're mad. Like, you know something has happened over there, right? Because this is also a placement that has the general belief that life is just happening to them, right? So you know they're mad. But it takes them forever to get to the point of actually telling you that they're mad or exactly what it is that they're mad about. I mean, they'd much rather just be passive, kind of let things go, and they'll do a little introspection and work through this later, as opposed to actually confronting a person, place, or thing about whatever they're angry about. They play games, lots of them, lots of head games, lots of heart games to get what they want, and sometimes they do that unknowingly, sometimes they do it knowingly, and oftentimes what happens is they're doing it, they get some desired effect, and then figure out that wasn't the desired effect that they wanted anyway. So it's very interesting. They can be very confusing because they tend to dance between the reality of what they want and the fantasy of what's actually happening. That's another thing that does put some interesting into this placement, is that because they can be so involved with fantasy, you know, they get the action of Mars to really encourage that fantasy life. So they can spend a lot of time with their head in the clouds, pretending about what's actually happening in life and for them and in certain situations, that when the reality comes, they're genuinely broken. Like, they're heartbroken, they're sad, they feel like victims, they feel like this has just happened to them. When it comes to the romantic life, it is a romantic life. It is not a quick wham bam situation. They are way too dreamy and idealistic for that. So there's lots of touching, lots of affection, lots of flowers, lots of walking on the beach, holding hands. I mean, it's this very envisioned sense of what romance looks like, and it takes a long time. You know, they really like to indulge in the fantasy of it and go with it and treat it like that very simple maiden being swept up, even the males that have this placement. So when it comes to actually being intimate and actually engaging in the act of sex, lots of touching. I mean, because they enjoy the sense of it and the sense of fantasy that comes with even just touching your partner's knee while you're, you know, intimately locked with them. All of it is just this great experience in fantasy, to the point where sometimes when they actually hit reality, it's like, whoa, what just happened? This placement, you can generally tell that they have this placement because they're really attracted to others who need lots of compassion, lots of caring, lots of cuddling and nurturing to them as well. So that is just a very little bit about what it is like to have the Mars in Pisces placement. Like this video, comment, of course, leave questions down below, share it, and subscribe to the channel, and I will see you guys very, very soon. Bye.